Hello, everybody. This is Demetris Curry coming to you with what? Another Financially Fit Fridays. I'm so excited about today, guys, because listen, we've been working with this young lady that's coming on with us today, Miss Jessica Carter, behind the scenes, doing a lot of things with her and in the community. But first, before we get too far into what we got going on today, let me say thank you to everyone that has been really chiming in, sending us amazing messages and nuggets and feedback on these Financially Fit Fridays that we just started back doing this year. This is season 2 of Financially Fit Fridays, and we've been bringing on experts in different industries of real estate, insurance, estate planning. Now we got trading, we got business development, and so much more, so much more. So I'm so thankful that you guys are being so supportive and you learning something each and every time that you get in on these segments. And guess what? We got so much more to come this year. I can't even tell you about it right now. But today, I'm so excited to have this young lady here with us. Okay. We're here today with Jessica Carter. So before we get too far gone, if you are listening to this live, I want to challenge you to like, share, subscribe to this YouTube channel, because this is where you're going to get all the nuggets and the information that you can use in real time. We're talking about Rhema word here that you can really use in real time. Jessica Carter, let's talk about her. Oh my goodness. So Miss Carter, I've actually known her for a few years now. And we've had the opportunity to share the stage, be together on different platforms, talking about financial literacy from different universities and HBCUs. And we've had the ability to work with workshops together in the area of financial literacy, on trading, on, investments, and what happens when you are trying to do protections versus non-protections. And so I just had to have her here on this show. I'm going to bring her on. I want her to give some information on what she does, who she is, and where she started in this industry of trading. But then we're going to dig deep about how to actually get into trading, what your tolerance level looks like, and so much more. So I can't stop. Let me just bring her to the stage. She is just absolutely amazing. And I know that you're going to love talking with her. Miss Jessica, can you see me? Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am. I can see you, beautiful. How are you today?
Oh my God, girl, listen. I'm so glad you're here with me.
So am I.
When we get together, we act up.
Listen, I'm going to be professional today a little bit. But if you say cut up, we gonna cut up. But I'm gonna be professional.
I'm gonna try my very best to act right. I'm gonna try my best because I know. And I said, how long is this segment gonna be? We listen. We supposed to be 30. We supposed to be 30 minutes. It don't happen that way.
Okay. 30 minutes. You have to tell me, baby. Listen, don't be all day. Get it. Give it to the people. Be finished. Okay, 30 minutes. If we go over 30 minutes, it's gonna be your fault.
Listen, I'm okay with that because it's so much to talk about today. So let's dig in. So Jessica, listen, I was looking at your resume and all the things that you have done and all the influence that you have in the industry, and I was like, you know what? She a little bit overqualified. I'm messing with you. But
I do too much. You are correct. I do.
In a good way. Yeah. But tell us, first and foremost, I'm going to give you the floor. Tell us more about how you got started here. Tell us about your business and why you named it the way you named it.
Okay, so first of all, it's like, where do I start? The business itself is currently named the 818 Collective, and originally it was not the 818 Collective. Most people know us by the Millionaire Wealth Empowerment Center, and it was kind of a hard shift for people. But I had to explain to people why that shift had to take place. When we were the Millionaire Wealth Empowerment Center, we were really focused on financial literacy education, teaching people how to take charge of their wealth, and it was basically all about your identity and who you were, and who God ordained you to be. However, we felt a shift in our mandate, if I can say that. We felt the shift in our mandate that we're not just building people who understand wealth building, wealth strategies, we're building a collective of people or a family of individuals who are firm in their faith, who are firm in their wealth building, who are firm in understanding that legacy, that we are mandated in scripture to pass on legacy. The scripture tells us that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So you're not just building all of this money so that you can ball out and just have a good time in this life. You're building this money so you can ball out, have your good time, impact your community, and then still have something left over that you can leave to those that are going to follow you, so they have something to build on, so they don't have to start from scratch. Because I feel like I started from scratch. I didn't come from money, but my husband and I said one thing for sure: our children will come from money, their children will come from money. And because we're not just leaving them money, we're also leaving them education, we're leaving them mindset. And I know we're going to get into that probably a little bit later in the interview, talking about mindset, because that's my thing. But the collective was not just about identity, but it was also about responsibility, and the responsibility of knowing where your identity comes from. It comes from God. It was founded on Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18, that commands us to remember the Lord our God, who has given us the power to get wealth. We don't get money and wealth and freedom and all of that stuff on our own. That's given to us by God. And so we have to always remember and put him in the forefront, that God, if you gave this to me, there has to be a reason. So as you're building this wealth, you should also be seeking God for what he desires you to do with that wealth. And so that's how the 818.
I love it. I love it. You touched on so much in that. And that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. What I love here.
A collective was birthed.
Yes. Oh, look like she dropped off. She'll drop back in just a moment. It is one of those things, I tell you. You're talking about, oh goodness, you touched on so much in that segment right there. You touched on so much, Jessica, because that is the thing. I mean, we are going to jump into mindset. You're absolutely right. We're absolutely right. You're going to jump into mindset. But when you're talking about legacy, and you're talking about, and you and I both were on the same page there, that's really big for both of us. We're talking about legacy. The mindset of it all, of that is even a possibility to have a legacy. We come from a nation and culture that, building a legacy has been difficult for us for centuries, right? So how do we do that and rebuilding and the renewing of the mind to get there, to say, hey, now I know it's a possibility. People are doing it. People are, I see families that are now leaving things behind to give them the jump start, so they won't start fresh from the beginning. Because like you, our family started from the bottom up.
Listen, from the bottom. But that's why I say representation matters, and so does experience. And when I say experience matters, people feel like, oh, well, I got to go out and do all these things and experience all these things. No, not necessarily. I can learn from somebody else's experiences. That's why having a coach, having a mentor, having somebody that you look up to, not that you necessarily idolize, but having somebody who you're able to look at the things they've accomplished in life and not necessarily say, I want to be like them, or I want to become that person, but say, hey, if they did it, so can I. What do they have that I don't have? And sometimes it's just simple discipline. That's an area that, baby, when I tell you, God has had to get me in, wisdom and knowledge, easy for me. I've been wise beyond my years since I was a teenager. And it used to irritate me when people said that. And so there was always this assumption that because I have all this wisdom, because I have this knowledge, I'm going to do all of these great things. And I felt like, as somebody who hated to fail, I was failing privately left and right. And I couldn't understand why. And what it boiled down to is the Holy Spirit had to tell me, you have no discipline.
You must have saw my post this morning. Did you see my post about
I have not seen your post this morning.
You didn't see my post
this
morning?
What did it say?
It said discipline. That was it.
And look at God. But that's the key word, though. Discipline is the key word. And that's the one thing that most people lack. Knowledge and all of that stuff is easy to obtain. There's a wealth of, especially now with AI, with with media and technology being what it is, you almost can't turn anywhere and there's not knowledge somewhere sitting for you to absorb. But once you get that knowledge, I tell people who take my classes, I have people who have paid for my self-paced class, and I go into the back office and they've never logged in since they paid for it. I can give you all the information in the world, and I can email you, text you, hey, just checking in on you. Do you have any questions about the material? Hey, I noticed you haven't started yet. What's stopping you from starting? If you don't decide that I'm going to start today and I'm going to finish what I started. And then once I learn all this information, I'm going to put it into action. Discipline requires you to make a decision that I'm going to do it and then stick with that decision by continuing to do it, even when you don't feel like it. Because sometimes I don't want to get up and look at this market. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I don't want to listen to our president on Twitter and all of this stuff, saying some of the most outrageous stuff, but it affects what I do day to day. So I have to sit down and take all of that information in and now decide based on the knowledge and skill set that I have, how is that information going to affect the market? Because this is how I make my money. This is how I build for my family. So I have to sit down, listen to that, and now figure out how do I apply that so that I can move forward. And then once I take the application that I need from it, I can dump out what I don't need. But I have to be willing to sit through and get the stuff that I don't necessarily want to get, but I know this is going to be beneficial to me.
You got that right. Listen, so we're talking about legacy. We've talked about the discipline of it all, because you definitely have to take, and even with what I do, you and I are on what we call bookends. We talk about this all the time, like we're on separate bookends of this whole thing. But even with what I do and what you and I both do, we both have to make sure the discipline, the mindset is actually there, right? To keep forward, to do what we need to do, and to make sure that we don't stop in what we're doing, right? Don't stop in what we're doing. Right. And so that is going to be one of the main things that you need in day trading. And I know day trading is one of your specialties, of when to jump in the market, when is a good time to actually, plan out whether you're going to use options or not, or things of this nature.
Yeah.
Not going too far deep into the language of it all, but how do you actually get started on day trading, and what made you get started on it?
Ooh, okay. So let's start with what made me get started.
Yes.
I was at a point, and some people may have heard this story, but I was at a point where I was working as a financial management analyst for the federal government, Department of Defense, and I had literally medically discharged from the military, started working for the Department of the Army. And while I was there, I'm not gonna lie, my supervisor when I first started was Miss Tina Nichols, an amazing woman. She poured into me in ways that only a mother could. Like, she saw this little black girl and was like, you're gonna be somebody, baby, and I'm gonna help you get there. And she poured into me, and she gave me opportunities. Her and Mr. Fred Mason, they gave me the opportunity to become a resource manager. Initially, I was the secretary because my background was HR. Listen, I do a lot. I've done a lot. My background was HR, but they were like, "You just look so bored. Like, I know that you could do more. Are you willing to become a budget analyst?" And I was like, "Not really, because I don't like numbers. Math was my weakest subject. I don't want to do that." And Fred was like, "Well, listen, you probably one of the best secretaries I've ever had. And so I just can't see you sit at this desk and right away all the potential that you have and you not reach that potential." And I thought about it, and they came back and said, "Listen, there's only a few slots where you're going to get promoted in this particular job description." And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try it, because my husband was trying to get out of the military. He was just tired of deployment after deployment and being separated from our family. And I was like, hey, it's my time to take the baton, to take care of us until he can transition. And so I took that opportunity that was offered to me. And while I was going, I went through a master's level courses. But let me tell you how good God is. I, at the time, did not even have a bachelor's degree for this program. And it was a requirement that you have a bachelor's degree. I wasn't even qualified for the program, but God gave me favor in that area. And so I graduated from that program at the exact same time that I graduated my bachelor's degree. So I got my bachelor's in psychology. I graduated with the certification in financial management, and bam, 2 years of training. And then I think 3 additional years after that, I worked in the headquarters budget office. But I got to a point where I started having more kids, and I realized that I was trading my time with my family and my kids to make money, and I didn't really like how the money looked in comparison to. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think any amount of money would have made me feel like it was sufficient enough for me not to be able to go pick my kid up when he's sick, or to feel like I'm a burden to the rest of the office because I have to continue to leave, because every time I get him well, take him back to the CDC, I got to pick him up again because he's sick. Mind you, my husband is just getting started in his career and in his schooling, so I can't have him leaving. So again, that was a burden that I was taking on because listen, in my marriage, you'll learn we share everything. And sometimes one of us gives 70 while the other got to give 30. Sometimes it's 80-20. It's whatever we got, that's what we give. And so we were at that state. And I told God, I was like, listen, I do not want to end this year in this office. I loved the people. My coworkers were amazing. I work with some good people, but I was like, I don't want to end this office. I don't want to end this year in this office. And if I do, I don't want to end it as a GS11. I need to get promoted or something. And I remember asking my supervisor about a promotion, and she said, "Well, there aren't any promotion slots available." And I knew that I was eligible for one at that time. I was well over time, and at the time she was transitioning out to, and this isn't Miss Nichols anymore, just a whole nother supervisor. She was transitioning out into another job. And one of my coworkers, because we have access to see everything. I mean, with budget office, we see everything that's available. And she goes, we got like 3 or 4 GS12 slots open in our office area. And I was like, wait a minute, back up. Now, she didn't know that I had asked about this at all. And she made mention of it. And so I just processed in my mind like, okay, Lord, this lady told me that there was nothing available. And I'm not saying that she was trying to hold me back because I don't think she was somebody who would do that. But I think she was so focused on moving up and taking care of herself that she just wasn't really concerned with me at that moment. And in my heart, I said, I have to be just as concerned with me as she is about her and my family. Yes. And so I said, all right, Lord, we close. So I took 6 months of leave without pay. And right on the tail end of that, I found out I was pregnant again with my baby boy. And I was like, Lord, I can't do this all over again. You're going to have to do something. And I remember at the time, Jessica Clements, who is Dr. Jessica Clements now, she said that she had just taken this course recently and she wanted to share with 10 people. And I said, God, I see you. Look at you coming through for the girl. And usually I am very skeptical about things because I'm like, you're not about to be scamming me. I'm from the hood. Everything is a scam. You ain't about to scam me. But I trusted Jessica. I trusted her spirit. And the timing was just so perfect with what I prayed to God for. So I took that class, and Monday we met, and Jessica sat down, and everything that she knew about Forex trading at that moment, she poured into us. She didn't hold anything back. And if you're listening, baby girl, and I love you because you definitely changed my life. And that's one thing I'm going to always pour back into people who pour back into me. All right, now back on track. So I took that class, and after taking that class, she was like, I need y'all to start trading with some paper money, practicing. Listen, baby, I'm about to put $100 or something in this account, and I'm trading with real money. I'm going to be fast. And so I started trading with real money, sending in my homework, and she was like, I need you to practice first. I need you to make sure you know the skill set first. And so what she was teaching me was risk management. I didn't realize it at the time, but she was teaching me risk management. And so I went through that with Jessica. And to this day, Jessica's still my coach, who I know that if I had a question or anything, I can call on and she will pour into me. And so after that, taking that course, it was maybe about 6 months later, I told my husband, this is it. I turned in my letter of resignation. December 21st, 2018 was my last day with the federal government. And I have been on a mission to educate as many people as possible ever since then. And anybody that I can educate, I refer them back to Jessica or anyone else that I know that's in this field. Because one thing I realize is that not every student is going to be my student. Not everybody is meant for me to pour into. But I know some people that if I can't pour into you, they can. And so for you, now the second half of your question, now for you to get started, someone else to get started, find you somebody who is willing to pour into you, who's willing to coach you, but also find somebody who is going to challenge you. Like there's a lot out there, but at the same time, there are people that it might require you to pay a little money for them to be able to sit down and train you and teach you, because anytime we take away from doing our craft, that's money that we're losing. So sometimes we make that trade-off by, hey, I'm gonna teach you, but there's gonna be a little charge, a little charge here and there. And I've also learned that people that I did not charge, I don't even know how I got here. That must be the Holy Spirit. People who I did not charge were less disciplined in putting in action the things that I've taught them. So be willing to learn, be willing to invest in yourself financially and time-wise, because it takes time to learn this skill set. This is not just something that you learn overnight. You have to be willing to say, hey, I'm going to push everything else out and I'm going to have tunnel vision for the next 2 or 3 months so that I can learn this skill set. Because once you learn it, you'll never forget it. I went through a period of depression where I didn't trade for almost a year. So much stuff had happened, and I'm not. I think we talked about it a little bit. Some of the stuff that happened, so I didn't trade for a year. But when I got back, baby, it was like looking at these charts. I was like, okay, your girl still got it. But it's a reminder that once you learn this skill set, you never lose it, and it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. It's something that's going to always pay you if you know how to get in, when to get in, and when to get out.
And learn all them candles.
Yes. Technical analysis is, I know you earlier you said you didn't want to get into the
Yes.
term, but technical analysis is extremely important. Understanding how to read those charts. We know how to read and discern. The scripture God told them, y'all know how, Jesus said, y'all know how to discern the times. You can look at the sky and you know when it's going to rain, but they didn't know how to discern the Son of Man. Same thing I say here. You know how to look. My grandma, baby, my knee about to hurt. It's gonna rain. There are things that you see that are happening that are indication for you that something else is going to happen. That's all a candlestick in a chart is you're looking at it and you see what has happened, and it's indicating to you what is going to happen next, and you learn how to capitalize on those indications.
So listen. So you just said a whole mouthful right there, Jessica.
So stop me preaching now.
Listen, you're preaching, honey. You done went back to the word. We going into it. Listen, we all, and he has set us up in such a way. Yes, he has.
Yes.
He has set us up in such a way to know how to gain that knowledge, how to actually use that information, and to surround yourself with people exactly with the same type of mindset. Number one, okay, gotta have that, which is why your circle is so important. I don't know if you saw my post about being looking at your circle and recalibrating, but that's a whole nother conversation. You got to actually recalibrate the circle because you got to make sure you got the right people around it. And see, you're in my circle.
Yeah.
See, that's why I send people your way, you send people my way. We work together. But it's like, you have to also make sure you may not know all the facts of how to be a trader. You may not know how to read the charts. You may not know how to actually know when to jump in the market, when to jump out of the market. How to actually decipher if the economy, what's going on in the news is going to approach, hurt you a little bit, or are you willing to ride the wave? So for me, risk tolerance is huge.
Yes.
Risk tolerance is huge. It's like one of the biggest factors in determining how you approach when it comes to doing your investments. You and I were talking about that before. It's like, listen, when we're doing investments, me, myself, I have my gauges of what I'm willing to risk and what I'm not willing to risk. And you put those things into a basket. This basket is for risk. This basket is not for risk. And those people that I work with know that I'm huge on risk management when I'm working with them on different things as well. And so are you. You're huge on risk management and how to actually tailor that thing, So definitely discipline, motivation, wanting to learn the trade, keeping your circle tight with the people with the same mindset and the same goals, and knowing what you're supposed to have. Thus said the Lord. Hello, what you're supposed to have.
Listen,
what you're supposed to see.
What you just said is a mouthful.
Knowing what you're
supposed to have. Yes, knowing what God has promised you, knowing what the capacity that God has given you to receive what you're supposed to have. And some of us are sitting there and our capacity is so large, but you're accepting so little. And it's like, why are you accepting so little? Like God has given large capacity, so go out and get everything that God has promised you. And sometimes we think that because God has promised it to us, that we're just supposed to wait for it to fall into our lap. No, God gives us promises and prophecies and things like that, but then God also gives us strategies and says, hey, now I need you to implement these strategies. Take the strategies that God has given you and implement those strategies, implement that discipline. Like you said, check that circle. That's something that my husband and I had to do recently. There were some people that God knows we love them. I love them with all of my heart. I would do anything for them. But I know that there's a line that they cannot cross. And that line becomes my circle. You're somebody that I can reach out to, but there's not so much so that there's not so far I can let you in, because I realize that your mindset, you would never be able to understand if I sat down with you and said, hey, this is what God wants me to do, and this is the vision that God has given me. You're telling me, well, that just seems like that's just too much. Like, that's a whole lot. Like, maybe you should just do it. No. I need somebody to be able to say, girl, you go for it. Look at every angle, but you go for it. And I mean, don't have me out here looking crazy, but don't tell me I can't do what God has told me I can do. If you see areas where I'm lacking that may prevent me from getting what God has told me, then point that out. But don't tell me I can't get it. And
So,
it's important to have people in your circle like that.
limitations that they put onto themselves, they're trying
Yes,
to put onto you. And for
absolutely.
me, I'm like, I've been a butterfly. I'm a butterfly. It's hard to contain me because
Ah,
I'm listen, and the whole metamorphosis thing. You go
yes,
from the caterpillar and you go to the lava stage and you get to the butterfly. Listen, for me to get to where we're going, because we're not even there yet. And what God has showed me,
not even close.
we're not there yet, but we're on our way. So in that way of moving that direction, right? You have to say, you know what? I know who he planted in me. I know the
Exactly.
seed that he has put there. He has given me the vision. He's given me the mindset. He is telling me, look, around on the corner, on the other side of the mountain, you're gonna have this and
Yes,
this.
God.
Girlfriend, listen, we can stop right here. The interview is
Hey,
over.
if anybody who don't know the Lord and the pardon of their sins and they need a financial revolution,
Listen, I told you we're gonna try to
also
stay on
call.
track. It's kind of hard to stay on track when you're talking about what he
Hey,
said you're supposed to have. Okay, so
exactly.
and I'm a big supporter of, listen, if you know that your circle is limiting you,
Ooh,
they're pulling you down, and they're not saying that they support you. And one of the biggest things of support is actually showing up. Okay,
yeah,
so showing up to say, hey, I may not be a customer right now because I'm not able to. However, I'm gonna
yeah,
share your stuff with somebody because somebody needs you. That's support. So
yeah. And
you
I
gotta
can see it
have
right
those
here.
people in your life.
And I can see it with you right now. And it's so crazy because I can name off on these 10 fingers the people that I know for a fact who are in my circle, who God has shifted strategically and placed in my path, that not only am I able to impact, but they also impact me. I think sometimes people don't realize that the people in your circle, it has to be a mutual growth happening. When it gets to a point to where mutual growth is not happening, you need to either graduate from that circle, or everybody else in that circle is gonna leave you behind. It is what it is. And I'm not saying, when I say graduate from that circle, I don't necessarily mean graduate from those people. I mean that the level that you all as a collective are on right now should not be the same level that all of you guys are on 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 12 months from now. There should be a steady growth, and some may grow faster than others, but there should be continual growth with everybody in your circle. And if somebody's not growing, then hey, sis, bro, what's going on? What you need? Like, what can we do to help you grow? And if they're not receptive of that, some people you have to even let go, because if you're not willing to go with the rest of the circle, then this might not be your circle. Unfortunately. Sorry.
So, look, drop the drop
Sorry.
the mic. Listen, okay, I'm gonna try to get back on track. I'm gonna try to.
Okay.
We get okay. So I'm gonna try to get back on track. Let's talk about this forex. Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
when we're talking about the forex and we're actually trading, and we wanted to, let's say that we are a person that don't have a whole lot of money. Okay, let's say that we're a person that maybe just have a good $100 that they want to put away into something, and they don't really quite know how to read the market. They don't really know what to invest in, or what to look out for. What would you tell that first time investor that's trying to really dibble and dabble into the forex?
If you're trying to dibble and dabble into forex and you do not know how to read the market, your money does not need to go into the forex market. Your money needs to go towards education. I tell people all the time, investing isn't just going into the market and expect money out of the market. Sometimes your initial investment is investing into the education side of things, so that you can learn exactly how to read those charts, how to understand the technicals and the candlesticks and the line charts and the graphs and all of that stuff, what that means, what your indicators mean and all that stuff. Understanding the fundamental side of things, how, if the president gives a speech, how that's going to affect the market. If the Federal Open Market Chairman, Chairman Powell, gets up and says something, how that impacts the market. How, anybody that has a position of power give a speech or something like that, how that impacts the market, understanding how the current situation we have going on right now with Iran, understanding how that affects the market, and not just how it affects the market, what it affects in the market. Because sometimes people have this idea that if the market is moving, that means everything is moving. Not necessarily. Right now, there are certain things in the market in the sector that are affected by what's happening that you should be focusing on. Oil, gas, any energies, those type of things are heavily impacted by what's happening right now. But if you don't have the education and the knowledge, you wouldn't know that. You would just assume that, hey, I'm gonna spread my $100 out and it's gonna make money. It might eventually, but then the return on the investment that you could be getting initially, you're not going to see for a good period of time because you're in the wrong thing, because you don't have the knowledge and the skill set to know what to invest that $100 into. So I would tell anybody, I don't care how small it is, don't risk your money into something that you're not educated in. Get the education first. And you may not necessarily can find somebody who's going to teach you Forex for $100. But guess what? There are some amazing people on YouTube University that are free that will give you the basic understanding of the Forex market, so you can get the basics of how things move, how things shift, those candlesticks, the fundamentals that we're talking right now. Get that understanding before you put money toward actually just jumping into the market. Because a part of risk management is not just knowing how much money you're willing to risk, it's knowing when I should be risking. If I don't have the skill set, I should not be risking anything right now financially in the Forex market.
And you know how I feel about risk.
Listen, baby, my sister's going to conserve that money. You hear me? And I love it. I love it.
So you
but I love that though, because you take calculated risk though. So it's not like you don't risk. You take calculated risk. You have studied something for a good period of time. So by the time you put your money into it, the probability of loss has significantly decreased so much that even if you lose something, it's not a whole lot. And eventually, when you're you could be in drawdown, but eventually it's going to rebound because you've studied it for so long. So, and that's another thing about risk. People think risk means just having completely avoiding. No, that's risk aversion, when you just want to avoid it altogether. But you can have a low risk tolerance and still make money. You just have to be very strategic in where you put the money that you're willing to risk.
And see, and that's why I said we're bookends. That's why we're bookends, and that's why we work together so well, because we have the different side of the approach. With my clients, we're looking at how to make sure they reap the benefits of the market while the market is going great, and when the market is not doing great, it protects them with a floor. That's my specialty. You know what I mean? And I'm like, listen, we got when the people that come to me and say, hey, well, I'm a little bit more high risk. I want to put something that's not risky over here, but what do I do if I want to risk this? You call Jessica. because
hey, Alexander, you know, but call me Alabama.
Yeah. You call Jessica, because I'm going to put you into things that's going to make sure you have the guarantees, and you're going to have no floor. You have the floors in there. You're going to get the great benefits. You're going to get the great growth. But if you want to take a little bit more time, and you want to play around just a little bit, you want to dibble and dabble just a little bit and play around with some stuff, you're going to have to call Jessica for that, which is why we're good with the things of what we do, especially in the age ranges, right? Especially when you're a little bit younger and you got more time to play around with the market. Maybe you're not retiring anytime soon. You know what I mean? Or you've done so well over your years that you got some stuff that's secured, put away, and you can put a good 1,000 in somewhere and take a risk. You see what I'm saying? Or that
let me say two things, something you said. I think the thing a lot of people don't understand about trading in the stock market or Forex and even crypto, but I'm not going to touch on that so much right now, but in the market is that it doesn't matter when you learn the skill set, it doesn't matter what direction the market is going in, you can make money. I've made some of my best money selling gold in the Forex market while the market is dropping. So it doesn't, once you learn the skill set, it doesn't matter what direction the market is going. I tell people all the time, Forex is proof. It doesn't matter that everything is dropping. Guess what? Because I know everything is dropping, I'm not going to buy it or sell it. But understanding those terminologies and understanding how you capitalize on those movements is essentially what I teach and how I try to pour into people in that manner. And then something else you said, I'm trying to pull it back because I didn't want to cut you off, but I had to. $100 and the small amount of money, even if you have a small amount of money, you can make money. And I know this for a fact because I've tested the theory. I had an account just earlier this year. I think around January, where it was like 20s, because I wasn't paying attention to the account. I must have had a trade in there that was just going, and by the time I checked, it was like 20 some dollars in the account. I was like, oh girl, you ain't put no stop loss or nothing on it. You didn't just have no protection. Money just gone. And it was okay, but I was, you know what, I'm gonna play with this. It's $20. I'm gonna play with this $20 and see what I can do with it. Because I like a challenge. And
Yeah.
I remember I traded gold, a small lot size on gold, and that $20, that $25 turned into over a 2-day period, it turned into $327. And I said, okay, now that we got this oil situation happening, let me look at because I've traded oil and gold for quite a while. And I said, let me put a trade in on oil because I'm like, it's at the bottom. It's refusing to break this floor. Like, this is the perfect time. I get in it, and normally I wouldn't hold trades over the weekend. That's just not my thing. But I did because I'm like, I'm in it. I'm at the floor. Worst case scenario, it breaks through the floor, but it's holding so strong. This it's straight. I'm confident in this trade. I was so confident that I'm like, I'm just gonna let it sit here. When the market opened back up on that Sunday, I kid you not, my trade was up $8,000.
Woo!
$8,000 from $300. So it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of money to make money. It takes you really knowing the skill set. Because if I was not certain of the analysis that I saw on that trade before the market closed on Friday, I would have took my little, I think it was like $1,000. I would have taken that little closed it and said I'll get back in next week. But no, I know my stuff, and that doesn't mean that I'm gonna always be 100% correct. But I'm confident in my skill set, and the confidence in my skill set allowed me to enter that trade at the perfect time and make that money. So it doesn't take a whole lot of money. That's why when you asked the question earlier, I said the first thing you need to do is learn the skill set. If you learn the skill set, it no longer becomes about the amount of money that you have to start with. It becomes about the potential that you can set yourself up for a level of freedom that I took that money, and you know what I did? I paid me and my husband, we going to Punta Cana for our 20th anniversary this year. I'm like, hey, this is trip money. This is vacation money right here. Let's go ahead on and knock that out, get that out the way. But I mean, whatever it is you want to do, to be able to be free to make a decision to say, I want to enjoy this life to the fullest, because Jesus said, I've come that you may have life and life more abundantly. And I'm going to test that every chance I get. I want my abundant life. But you can't do that if you're so tied down in fear of taking chances. Oftentimes people fear taking chances because they don't understand certain things. When you have a certain level of understanding, fear starts to take a back seat. Most of us are only afraid of what we don't know. Once I know it, I ain't scared of it. I know the potential pitfalls. I know that I could potentially lose X amount of dollars. I understand that. I'm willing to do that, but I also know that I can make X. And so in comparing that risk to reward ratio, I could lose 300, but the possibility of making 30,000 or 10,000 or 6,000, that's a good risk to reward ratio. Honestly, if I'm risking 300 and I'm potentially going to make 900, that's a 1-to-3 risk reward ratio. I don't know a job today that's giving you that without a certain degree where you're going to be able to go in and by the end of an hour or two, you make $900 legally.
And you said, listen, you said a mouthful on skill set, honey, on skill set. And that's the thing, but they have to take the time or take the initiative.
Yes.
To actually learn the skill set. See, you a boss lady. You a boss lady. You took all the time to learn this trade, to study the trade, to study the fundamentals, to study the structures, to study, the charts, to understand the market, to understand what this does to the oil market, what this does to the gold market. If we can actually make some money out of it on the day, or can I let it linger for a couple of days to see if you have taken the time and the initiative to actually learn the skill set. So in doing that, for someone that wants to get to your level of trading, what would be the first thing in skill set you would tell them to start learning first? So just 1 or 2 things that need to start learning right now to get them ready to just play around with it. What do they need to learn?
The first thing I tell you need to learn is you need to understand the anatomy of a candlestick. Because sometimes you don't understand the fundamentals on how certain things impact the markets can get you a long way. understanding what a candlestick is, what the body, what the wick is, what is telling you when you see something with a really long body and short wick, if it's red, if it's green, understanding that a red candlestick meaning that the market that is sold off for that whatever that time frame is. Candlesticks are generally shown in time increments. You can set your chart to be 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, but that candlestick is going to tell you what happened in the market during that time frame. And then understanding, okay, now if I see if I see a little short green candle, and then all of a sudden I see a nice long red that can wrap around that green candle, that tells me that that's engulfing. The bears are taking over. So this is the opportunity for me to figure out how I can get an entry into shorting or selling. The opposite, if I see a long green candle after a little small red candle, that's now that the bulls are taking over and the market is going bullish, it's going up. Now I need to buy. That if you can learn how to understand a chart, read candlesticks, and see the movements in the market, and understand that the market moves in patterns. It moves in patterns. Right. Mm-hmm. It's the same patterns over and over. And when it breaks out of one pattern, guess what it starts doing in the next thing? It starts creating almost the exact same pattern, just higher up or lower down. So just understanding candlesticks, that would be the first thing I would tell people. Second thing I would tell people is, while you're understanding and learning the candlesticks, learn yourself as a person. Identify your personality type. Be honest with yourself. Are you a risk taker? Do you take too much risk? Because sometimes I'm risky, but I realize, Jessica, sometimes you take too much risk. 1 month I lost $25,000. I don't like to tell people just what I've gained. I need you to know I've lost money in this thing. This is it's not perfect. 90% of Forex traders lose money. And it's not because Forex is just hard to do. It's because most people can't control themselves, or they don't understand it. They're just following whatever signal somebody else is sending out. That's why I don't do signals, because I can tell you when to get in, when to get out. But if we lose money, you don't know why we lost. If we make money, you don't know why we made it. So learn the skill set. Understand yourself as a person. If you are a risk taker, again, understand if you take too much risk. If you take too much risk, figure out how can I control my discipline, that I'm not so greedy that I'll be like, I'm gonna put $1,000 out here because I think I'm gonna make like $50,000-$60,000. Like that, it don't always happen that way, especially not if you're just starting out. You have to be able to understand yourself. Also understand your relationship with money. Some people have and this is a whole nother segment. Some people have a very broken relationship with money. And they try to get in, and it's like, they feel like, if I don't make it now, I'm not going to get it. Why? Because you've been taught all the time money don't grow on trees. So you feel like this is the only opportunity you're going to make money. No, baby, the market is going to continue to give you opportunity. So if you feel like you missed an opportunity, don't jump in the middle of a movement. Let that movement pass you by and look for the turnaround. Because guess what, baby? It's going to turn around at some point. There's always going to be an opportunity for you to get into the market. So understand how to read the candlestick. Understand yourself as a trader, as an individual. And then know... I'm not gonna say it anyway. No, I'm not gonna say that. This is my last one. Know your goal. Understand your goal. Why? Understand your why. Why do you want this money? What are you planning for? Are you trying to replace a job that you don't want to go to a 9-to-5? Then it's going to require you to put in a little bit of 9-to-5 work in the beginning to perfect this skill set, so that you can trade that 9-to-5 in for a 7 a.m. to a 9 a.m., which is a good time to trade in the market. So now you trade your 9-to-5 in for a 2 hour, but that takes time, because now you got to be willing to sacrifice that time in order to learn the skill set so that you can make that changeover. And then understand, if your goal is you want to buy a house, you're trying to save for retirement, that's going to also help you to understand what type of investment vehicle that you're going for. I tell people, if you're trying to save for retirement and all of that stuff, and you want your money in low risk market, because you don't have to watch it every single day, do some average trade, some dollar at cost average trading, put it in there, just let it go. Don't even worry about that money. And do not, I'm trying to watch the time, which is why I'm speeding up. I hope y'all getting this information. Do not ever risk more money than you can afford to lose. You don't risk your bill money in the market. Listen, if your light bill is due, pay your light bill. You'll get some more money. Listen, if them kids need to eat, feed your kids. Don't put money into the market that you're gonna have to go back and say, dang, I got an emergency, I need to take this money out. And I give these things because I have firsthand knowledge and experience in these areas. I've done that before to where I put money into the market and I'm like, well, we got this extra money here and I'm just gonna put it all in the market. But I didn't put anything aside we didn't have anything set aside for an emergency. So as soon as the emergency pops up, now I gotta go and dig into the stock market and pull that money out that could be in drawdown. So now I'm pulling out money that losing at the point I don't even have time to wait for it to recover. And if your mindset isn't strong, you can become discouraged. So I know that was a lot in a short period of time, but that's what I would tell people who are just getting started. You got to understand, focus on those counterfeits, learning that, understand yourself as a trader, as an individual, your risk tolerance, and then know why you're trading. So that will help you to understand what vehicle is going to be the best vehicle for you. Also, if you're not somebody who I had a friend who told me, she was like, listen, I just can't wait. Like, I want to get in, I want to get out. I want to do this. That will also help you to identify what style of a trader you're going to be. But that's a whole lesson for a whole nother day. So there's a lot here that we could unpack in this short period of time. Feel like I'm giving the people too much. But y'all got some homework. Understand who you are as a person. Start reading, start learning those candlesticks, and then write down your goals on what you want to accomplish with the money that you make from your investment vehicles.
Girl, you tearing it up. You tearing.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, Demetris, I thought it was gonna be her fault. Now look at me over here going over time.
Listen, and the funny part is, whenever we teach classes together, we do the exact same thing.
Yeah, we knew this was gonna happen. Hey, I saw your assistant. Your assistant is real slick. I saw her change the time from 30 minutes to an hour. I was like, oh, I love her. She's so good.
You know, April behind the scenes watching all this. She said, it's gonna be more than 30 minutes.
I love it. Yeah, April, I said, thank you, Miss April.
But it's so much to give, though, right? It's so much to give. I try to keep these things within 30 minutes just to be cognizant of your time. And some people are watching it on their lunch hour. So, I'm trying to give them their little lunch hour, a little spiel. At the same time, I'm like, man, this is a lot to just walk away from. I don't want to just cut it off in the middle of some good stuff, right? So, I mean, mindset, discipline, what they need to actually be studying first, right? Learn the trade. Don't just jump in just to jump in. Get to know those fundamentals of what it's like to use Forex. If that's not a good fit for you, get to the next one. You know what I'm saying? Go do some stocks or whatever. That's not a good fit for you. All of that. But I love the honesty of it all, of you saying, hey, don't use your bill money. If that's what you got to pay your bills, you got to pay your groceries. You got to do the stuff that has to be done in your household. Then the things that you want to use to invest in, you need to have like a little allocation to the side to actually. And you and I've had this conversation before where there are certain monies that I'm willing to play with and others that I'm not. And then there's things where, you have to have the bills got to be paid. Everything has to be, and you plus, if you're going on a trip, great way to make some extra money on the trip if you're trying to do some trip money, that kind of thing, right? So all of that come into play. You gave some serious nuggets today, girl.
Listen, I was like, I gotta make this fill the people up while they on lunch break. Thank you for this invitation, Demetris. I love talking to you. I love sitting down chatting with you. The opportunity we get to people, I'm always down for that, because I just feel like there's too much. God has blessed us to have a lot of knowledge and a lot of information. And the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is required. It is required that we pour this out into the community. Sometimes pour money into areas because it may put a band-aid on the problem. But if you can give wisdom and put knowledge and information out there, then it's like teach a man to fish, give a man to fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him to fish, he eat for a lifetime. So I love what you're doing here with Financially Fit Fridays, that you're teaching people to fish. You're not just giving information, giving money, you're giving nuggets, you're giving them a skill set, and bringing on these experts, the amazing people you brought on so far. Listen, I've been trying to binge watch it because I don't always get to do it on Fridays because that's me and my husband day, but I try to binge watch it and catch up, and everybody has been amazing, and all the information they poured out, I've learned a lot. I'm a lifelong learner. I feel like I'm always going to be a student. So I've learned a lot from what you do. I appreciate you opening up your platform and your time to be able to pour back into the community. Everybody has their way of doing it, and this is yours, and I'm grateful for it. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. It's been amazing. We first started doing this segment a year and a half ago. it was just me doing them, talking about this and real estate and
Mm-hmm.
all this other whatever. And I was like, we're gonna bring on experts on this next season. And you guys have just been showing out. I mean, literally so much nuggets. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Guys, y'all got some homework to do. Ooh, she just gave y'all so
And
much
I want
homework.
to see some answers of the homework in the comments later. So y'all come back and watch the video and tell us what you learned from the information that we put out.
Hello. But before we go, Jessica, how does everyone get in contact with you? What if they want to learn from you? What if they want to take your classes and things of that nature? How do they get in contact with you, getting your classes or your membership?
So if you want to take a class with us, you can go to www.my818life.com, and all of our classes are on there for you to register for those courses. We actually have something that I guess I can't say I'm developing it. I have a course called Think Rich, Live Free, and we sort of developed. We started developing that course and got the workbook and everything together. And I had in mindset how I wanted to do it because I'm so good. I just know what I'm gonna do, and I ain't consult the Lord at all. And then the Holy Spirit was like, "Oh, slow down." And so it's going to be something that we're going to host at some point over the summer, a day where it's going to be a 1 day. So there are 11 lessons, 45 minutes each. It's a whole day with me and my team, and we're going to just pour into you a basic introduction and understanding of investing, a basic understanding of Forex, stock market, cryptocurrency, something to get you started on how to get started education wise in those markets. And so that's our Think Rich, Live Free. So while it's currently on the site, we're revamping that so that you don't necessarily have to do the self-paced version. We're going to sit down with you and you'll be able to ask all the questions you want in that 8-hour day.
Now, one other thing, but I just thought about this. You just made me say ding, ding, ding. You made it come back to my memory. You're also doing this with some of the high schools as well. Are you still working with the high schools to teach the students in how to actually learn how to trade from the beginning? I mean, you catch them in high school before they even graduate. Are you still dabbling in that? So right now, I know you was doing that last year. Is that still going on today?
Yes, we're still open to any high school that would like to bring us out to be able to hold a session with your students. And into multiple sessions, we can come in for a 1 full day and just spend all day with your students and excuse me, and teach them about investing and things of that nature. Previously, we did it with another organization who would bring us in, but right now we're no longer contracted with the organization. We're doing it on our own. So we're open to any school that would like to bring us in and sit down and have a conversation. My husband and I and my team, hey, we're ready to get going because we feel like I wish I had a Demetrius, Sarah and Lorenzo Wright, Abby and Lawrence Souffront. I wish I had those people in my life when I was a teenager. So because I didn't have those people, I said, God, I'm willing to be those people, or at least be one of those people to a teenager and a high school student right now. So yes, we're absolutely open to any high school in the community in the area that wants to bring us out. We're also open to that we're doing this whole platform with the rights as well. Because I'm plugging my friends always. I don't know if you guys are out there have heard about the Money Talks Roundtable where the rights are setting up to go into the colleges. Demetris and I both are on that panel. So any colleges out there that want to bring us in, just get with Sarah and Lorenzo Wright, and we'll come in and talk with your students on. Hey, and that opens up a whole slew of things from where we talk Forex, stocks, real estate investing, money management, budgeting. Demetris hit them with the things that most people don't think about until it's too late in life, and that's life insurance. But understanding how that life insurance vehicle can carry you from the time you were a baby up until your adult life, and it can pay you. That's Demetris' area. But bring us in. We got y'all.
We got y'all. Yes, we got to plug our friends. Hello, got to plug them. They be doing their thing, and so and we're very appreciative that they have put us all into their circle as well. We go from university to university. It's been amazing working with all these college students and working with even the high school students. I mean, the college students and the high school students, they really dig in. They have questions, and even on the estate planning sector, they're like, hey, how do I approach this conversation with my parents? So I love having that too. So absolutely amazing. Yeah, my girl, she put in everything. Look at, she put your site down there. She put Right Way 360 down. We plugging everybody today. We're plugging everybody. We're plugging everybody. But listen, I appreciate you being here so much. I mean, goodness gracious, so many nuggets. And I can't even summarize it all. You just put so many nuggets out there. But if you did not catch this thing from the beginning. You only got a part of it. You got to go back and get the replay. Make sure you are writing down these notes. Take very good notes, cognizant notes on there on what you got going on. And then also make sure you talk to Miss Jessica if you are trying to get in on some training. And her training classes are absolutely amazing. Her membership, she keep you accountable, making sure you know what you're doing before you get into the market. But then make sure you understand your risk tolerance and how that works. Diversification, everything that she does in this industry is simply amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what you and what you and your husband is doing. Oh my goodness, you guys are doing amazing things. So listen, we got more to come. We got more to come. Guys, oh my God, she just showed out. Miss Jessica, she just showed out on y'all. She gave y'all so much information. Thank you so guys for being here with us doing your lunch hours and your time frames, just so you can say, hey, I want to learn this Forex thing. I want to learn how to better things for my family. I want to build this legacy, but I want to do it the right way. I want to know what I need to get into and what I don't need to get into. Learn my own risk tolerance, learn who I am as a trader, and also learn if I need to do something that's not very risky. Is that where I need to be? Listen, all of that came from Miss Jessica today, and I truly appreciate her being here. We went a little bit over, but hey, that's what happens when you got so much information coming in, right? That's what happens. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us for yet another Financially Fit Fridays. We got more to come, more to share. Go back and listen to this replay. If you missed any of those nuggets, make sure you go back and replay it. Like, share, subscribe, and make sure that you are here next Friday for the next segment. Talk to you guys later. This is Demetris Curry signing off.